If you've ever been excited for a 3-day weekend and the start of the U.S. Open, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. Producer and I were having a little discussion on whether or not the winner of the U.S. Open will finish with a plus score. We'll see if that is the case. Welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. We had the Fed yesterday, new Fed, who dis? And it's Kevin Warsh. She's going to make some changes over there. Definitely seems like he has a plan. Market traded down as it normally does when we get a new Fed chair. Learned that yesterday too. And today here, we actually have a little bit of green arrows here in the pre-market. So we'll see how this all shakes out here today. It is a synthetic Friday because the market is closed tomorrow in observation of the Juneteenth holiday. So we got a 3-day weekend coming up here, and this is our Friday, if you will. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the Thursday or Synthetic Friday edition for June 18th, 2026, begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. It is great to see a whole bunch of returning faces, and it is great to close out this week with the best community on the internet. Yeah, I said it. Fight me. Actually, we're not going to fight around here. That's not what we do. Solitary Soldier, good morning. Welcome back. You are first here today. Thanks, Ryan, for everything that you do. Let me tell you something, Solitary Soldier. That is a heck of a way to start off a Thursday here. I appreciate the kind words, but I would take that thank you and redirect it outwards. Thank you all for volunteering to show up every day and contributing to what we're trying to build here. I don't take attendance. There's no charge. And nonetheless, you folks continue to do it anyway. So from all of us here at Benzinga, whether it's me, 13, the producer, or anyone else on our great staff, thanks for choosing to spend time with us every morning. Free Diddy tomorrow. Good morning. Welcome back. Peter, good morning. Holiday tomorrow. You got any holiday plans? Peter, what are you doing for the long weekend? Derek, good morning. It's good to see you again. Crispy Biscuit, good morning. Welcome back. Yes, that girl, good morning. Welcome back. Man, I love that handle. I love that handle. Cab Monkey, good morning. Welcome back. Richard, good morning. Welcome back. Producer, locked in. I know you're excited. That makes two of us, boss. Zach McCracken, good morning. Welcome back. Sergeant Sexy, good morning. Welcome. It's a family show, bro. Barb, good morning. QTex expands into quantum processor interface with a single build cryptogenic chip carrier. Okay, so QTex has some news here today. I did notice that there's a fair value gap there between 207 and 219. So see if that holds there for a trade. Good morning, Barb. It's great to have you back. Matthew, good morning. Welcome back. Ed, good morning. Welcome back. Ed says, is there a task force for that good morning? Yes, sir, there is, Ed, and you're a part of it. Sack up, baby. Get ready to go. You're a part of that task force. Barb goes on to say, I have a really weird one if anyone is interested in taking a look. Ticker PUSA, filed as a golf country club holding, but it's actually a tactical folding drone company competing in Gauntlet. We actually did take a look at this. I want to say it was last week, perhaps the week before. I think there's like a Trump tie to this one too, or something like that. I don't own it, but we have looked at this one before. We'll see if that's moving here today. Bernhard, good morning. James. All right. So guys, you guys that ask me about Pro, and I often tell you that you need to reach out to James. Well, we're blessed because he's in the chat today. So if any of you were on the fence about Pro, now is your time to talk to Mr. James, who's great at finding the cheapest possible price on any of our subscriptions, not just Pro, by the way. So if you're interested in multiple, be sure to talk to James. James, good morning. It's great to see you. It's great to have you here. And I appreciate you telling people to hit the like. Free way to support what we all do here, not just the show, but Benzinga in general. Good morning. It's great to have you. Zach saying Ondas to acquire Cyberhawk. Is Ondas selling off 10% on the acquisition? No, it's actually higher. How about that? We'll take that here today. Yassine, good morning. Welcome back. AC, good morning. Welcome back. Just passing through. Good morning. Welcome back. Corey, it's great to see you as always, boss. Welcome back. Francis, good morning. Robot to Trade, good morning. Dirkus, good morning. GB Slice, good morning. JJ, welcome back. Acorns, good morning. What news is greater Fed news or Iran deal up or... Okay, I think you're asking which one is better. I don't think we know enough about the Fed. I'm actually encouraged from what I heard from Warsh, but I think it's still too early to make a judgment on that. And I kind of have the same feeling with the MOU, right? It's not an official deal that leads to a 60-day window where they have to negotiate a bunch more stuff. It seems like a lot of people on both the right and the left are mad about the deal. So to me, it seems like it's too early there. The market, however, obviously responding to this. Oil's down another 1.5% here. Ooh, it's actually almost at minus 2% here. So as far as the comment about oil dropping like a rock after the deal is signed, that actually proved to be true. We'll see how much more of that holds. I hate to do this to you, but I still think we need to remain a little bit cautious. We'll see how it shakes out. I see Mike K. Good morning. Welcome back. Reginald. Good morning. Welcome back. Full Draws. Good morning. Welcome back. You. Oh, James got a buddy. I don't know. You enters into a $725 million agreement with the Pentagon. That's going to be in our movers section here. That's coming up in just about an hour, a little bit less than an hour. We're going to break through all of that, or we're going to break down all of that. And that'll be good. We'll let it kind of settle in there, see where it finds, its equilibrium, and then we'll make a judgment on how we're going to trade that out of the open. Jeff, good morning. Welcome back. Kathy, good morning. Welcome back. Bob, good morning. Welcome back. Cast has been one of our movers this week. They had news here today, and they're ripping here today. We're definitely going to be taking a look at Cast in the mover section as well. Unpopular Truth, good morning. G-Cord, good morning. Cam, good morning. Crankbait, good morning. Linda, good morning. Kelly, good morning. And, of course, Big B's, good morning. Marvell swing overnight. Hells, yeah, Big B's just absolutely printing money over there. Big B's, your new nickname might have to be the Fed because that's all you do is print money. See what I did there? All right, folks, let's go ahead and get started with our stock market today. All right, we've got green arrows ahead of Thursday's open here. S&P futures up 0.66%. They're actually off their highs and beneath the VWAP, but they are still holding higher here today. Dow futures up 0.26%, and the NASDAQ leading the way higher at 1.35% to the upside. Now let's take a look at some cues from last session as well as what's going on here today. S&P 500 sectors all ended in the red, and they were led down by communication services, consumer discretionary, and real estate as U.S. stocks finished lower on Wednesday. U.S. stock futures rose on Thursday as the Dow Jones, NASDAQ, and S&P 500 indices advanced following Tuesday's sharp sell-off. On Wednesday, the Federal Reserve unanimously held the federal funds rate steady at 3.5 to 3.75%, as widely expected, in the first policy meeting under new Fed Chair Kevin Warsh. He announced 5 task forces to review Fed communications, the balance sheet, data sources, productivity and jobs in the AI era, and the inflation framework itself. Thursday will mark the last trading day of the week as the markets will be closed for the Juneteenth National Independence Day on Friday. Meanwhile, the 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.45%, and the 2-year bond was at 4.17%. The CME Group's Fed Watch Tool projections show that the markets are pricing in a 72.2% likelihood that the Federal Reserve leaves the current interest rates unchanged during the July meeting. Now, we've got several stocks in focus here for you today, and the first one shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. SpaceX is back, put in its first red day yesterday. SpaceX Technologies, however, rose 0.36% in the pre-market on Thursday today after it closed lower for the first time since its listing on its 4th trading day on Wednesday. See how it trades here today. The second stock on our list is going to be Safe Bulkers, ticker SB. It rose 3.4% after reporting better than expected first quarter financial results after the closing bell on Wednesday. The next stock on our list is going to be Sleep Number, and the ticker on this is SNBR, and it plunged 55.9% as it disclosed that NASDAQ plans to delist its common stock following the mattress maker's recent Chapter 11 bankruptcy filing. Now, if you've traded bankruptcies before, you know that when they file to go bankrupt, sometimes they pop. So keep that one on your radar here today. The next stock on our list is going to be Adobe. The ticker is ADBE, and it was up 0.6 as it announced Adobe Brand Visibility, a new solution for businesses to ensure their brand is visible, trusted, and chosen across AI surfaces. The last stock on our list is going to be FreeCast, and the ticker on this one is CAST, C-A-S-T. It zoomed 87.96% after announcing that it has entered into a reseller agreement for Starlink Business Services. This agreement enables FreeCast to offer enterprise-grade satellite broadband connectivity along its growing portfolio of media, television, advertising, and digital engagement solutions. All right, let's take a look at the SPY chart and figure out where we are at here today and where we might be going here today, too. I know that's the $64,000 question for everybody. Yesterday, when we broke this down, we talked about the obvious move being the gap fill down to the previous candle. What was the day on this one? June 12th, the Friday, June 12th candle. And we also had the 20-day moving average. Well, we melted the 20-day moving average like it wasn't even there. And we did, in fact, fill this gap down to, this was about 740. Actually, it looks like we held 740 yesterday on some of those lows as well. Today, this actually puts us in a pretty interesting spot. We have the 20-day moving average right there at 746. So a potential recapture of this might mean that we challenge the highs from Monday. That high print, by the way, 756.68. The all-time high print came from Monday, June 1st. They both came on a Monday, by the way, 760.28. So we'll see if we can recapture this. We, just like last time when we kind of rolled over from the highs, we never actually printed the 50-day moving average, although it looked like we were going to roll down to that. So we'll see if people have risk off going into the long weekend here. Are people kind of fading the deal that Trump signed with Iran? We should get a more clear picture of that today with how the market trades. So I think these are really the key levels that you need to have in play here. When the market opens, well, I'm sure we'll observe the SPY and see if there are any other intraday levels that might come into play. But for the meantime, let's check on some insights from analysts here and see what they're saying. Scott Wren, our good old friend Scott Wren, senior global market strategist at Wells Fargo Investment Institute, provides yet another optimistic yet grounded outlook for the U.S. economy and the stock market. Regarding economic growth, Wren notes that from a high altitude, we look for good GDP growth through the end of the year, end quote. While he anticipates that inflation will likely ease over the next 18 months, he cautions it will remain, quote, higher on an annual basis than the Federal Reserve desires through the next year, end quote. This will likely keep the Fed from adjusting interest rates anytime soon. Now, given this backdrop, Wren remains bullish on corporate performance, stating, quote, we continue to favor equities over fixed income, end quote. He recommends directing new funds towards U.S. large cap and mid cap equities, pointing to artificial intelligence secular trends and lower AI-related valuations in sectors like industrials and utilities. Ultimately, financials remain their, quote, most favored sector, end quote, and Wren anticipates that the S&P 500 index will post record earnings next year and reach the 8,600 to 8,800 range. So a pretty bullish outlook there from Scott Wren. He's not telling you when we're going to have that move up, but he definitely is forecasting another leg higher there today. So we'll see what we end up getting. As far as economic data goes, we have the initial jobless claims for the week ending June 13th and June's Philadelphia Fed Manufacturing Survey. Those are going to be out here at 8:30. That's 17 minutes from right now. And then obviously with the holiday tomorrow, we actually have no numbers coming out tomorrow. So we should be in the clear on all of that. All right, let's take a look at our next story here. You knew I was going to lead with the SpaceX story, right? You knew I was going to lead with the SpaceX story, and Jim Cramer is making some waves again. TV host Jim Cramer on Wednesday said that the Elon Musk-led SpaceX Technologies company, ticker SPCX, could not sustain its meme stock status following the decline. Boy, that was quick. In a post on X, Cramer expressed his views on SpaceX's decline following days of sizable gains in value. Quote, SpaceX could not maintain its meme status, end quote. And he added that the stock was unable to sustain the walk-up. In a separate post, Cramer also outlined that SpaceX has a two-way market now that both buyers and sellers were trading the stock. Quote, can't meme it, too many sellers, end quote. I don't even know what that means. Multiple analysts had issued warnings about SpaceX becoming a meme stock following its rapid growth, with Charlie Bellio, who is an executive at investment firm Creative Planning, cautioned against SpaceX's rise that echoed the 2021 meme stock era. Investor Gary Black of the Future Fund LLC also said that SpaceX could be losing its meme stock status, with option trading providing investors with a new way to bet against the stock. Don't forget, we also have levered ETFs from multiple companies now. However, SpaceX's rally has also resulted in Elon Musk becoming worth $1.3 trillion and surpassing the combined net worths of multiple billionaires like former Alphabet CEO Larry Page, as well as Sergey Brin and Amazon founder Jeff Bezos in the process. He's also created some hand-wringing on Capitol Hill. So, how many of you think SpaceX is a meme stock? I'll be honest, the whole meme stock definition, I mean, this is an actual company that's trying to advance humanity. When I think of a meme stock, I think more of things like GameStop. That was a meme stock to me. I understand that there's hype around SpaceX, and rightfully so, and I was a part of it. So I totally get all of that. But meme stock, that seems a bridge too far. All right. Some of the big news here actually has to do with Apple. I've got two real quick stories here on Apple. After NVIDIA and Tesla, Trump confirms that Apple has agreed to build chips with Intel amid U.S. manufacturing push. So Intel, actually, let me take a look at this here real quick. I should have had this queued up. I'm sorry I didn't. Intel here, this is printing 132s in the pre-market here. I had printed a high of 133.20, but man, this thing is up, 12 points from yesterday's close? So big move here on Intel. Let's take a look at the story and figure out exactly what's going on. President Trump said that the U.S. lost semiconductor manufacturing to Taiwan and other countries and lauded his efforts to bring chip production back to the United States of America. Trump took to Truth Social early on Thursday and highlighted the partnerships that he facilitated between Intel, ticker INTC, NVIDIA, ticker NVDA, and Tesla, ticker TSLA, to design and manufacture chips domestically. Quote, we helped bring in NVIDIA, and they agreed to build their first-level chips with Intel. Next, Elon agreed to build his Terafab, the largest chip factory in the world, designed together with Intel's technology team, end quote. And again, that came from Trump. He then confirmed that Apple, ticker AAPL, has also, quote, agreed to work, end quote, with Intel to design and build its chips in the U.S. Trump also blamed previous administrations for allowing the semiconductor technology, which was invented in the U.S., to decline by failing to implement protective tariffs. The president also highlighted how Intel's value has surged from about $100 billion to over $600 billion since the U.S. investment 9 months ago, this boosting America's stake to more than $60 billion. Quote, when was the last time a president made America money? End quote. Trump's post comes after a Wall Street Journal report in May suggested that Apple and Intel have reached a preliminary deal for Intel to manufacture some Apple-designed chips, potentially reducing Apple's reliance on Taiwan Semiconductor, ticker TSM, and reshape the semiconductor supply chain. The companies have not revealed which Apple products will use Intel-made chips, and key terms of the agreement remain undisclosed at this time. Apple and Intel both did not immediately respond to Benzinga's request for comments, but you all folks know the drill. If we get an update, I will update you. On Wednesday, Intel's 18AP semiconductor node entered the risk production phase, marking a significant milestone in the company's advanced manufacturing timeline. This development aligns with the schedule Intel shared with customers and partners back in 2025. The U.S. government acquired a 9.9% passive stake in Intel in August, purchasing 433.3 million shares at $20.47 each through an $8.9 billion investment tied to the CHIPS Act and secured enclave funding. At Intel's current price of $120, scratch that, $132, representing an unrealized gain of about $44 billion, or almost 6x the return on the original $8.9 billion investment. So really, the next question here, as far as the investment goes, for the onshoring of the chip manufacturing, great, universally great across the board. The comment here about making America money, hate to point it out, but that's not made money until those gains are realized, which means at some point, all of that Intel stock needs to be sold, doesn't it? Nice that it looks great. The unrealized gain looks great and looks monstrous, but what happens when some of that stock gets sold? Answer is not out there yet. We'll see how it shakes out. Now, I said I had another piece of news on Apple. This one not as good, I'm afraid. Apple will raise prices due to the soaring memory costs. CEO Tim Cook said, this is a 100-year flood, invoking biblical terms here now. Apple, ticker AAPL, is preparing to raise prices across its product lineup after CEO Tim Cook acknowledged the company can no longer absorb the skyrocketing costs for memory and storage components. Quote, unfortunately, price increases are unavoidable, end quote. Cook said in a Wall Street Journal interview that was published yesterday. He went on to say, quote, we're doing our best to mitigate the huge increases that are being passed to us, but the situation has become unsustainable, end quote. Cook declined to specify which devices will seek higher sticker tags when the changes take effect. Apple's next major launch, the iPhone 18 lineup, which is anticipated to include a foldable model, is expected in September. Now, I think, at least from where we sit here today, it is a safe bet to make that the foldable phone, or really any of the high-end phones like the Pro Max, the iPhone 18 Pro Max, those are going to see the most significant gains. They use more memory, and Tim Cook's telling you it's the memory that's causing these price increases. So I would say that the effect was probably going to be more noticeable on the higher-end products. Just a guess, he didn't confirm which devices are going to see those increases. The culprit is a dramatic reallocation of DRAM and NAND supply towards AI infrastructure. Since Alphabet, ticker GOOG, Microsoft, ticker MSFT, Meta, ticker META, and Amazon, ticker AMZN, began announcing massive CapEx expansions last year, both memory and storage chip prices have quadrupled. The three dominant DRAM producers, Lion Atlas's favorite stock Micron, ticker MU, Samsung Electronics, and SK Hynix, have watched their valuations surge accordingly. Micron currently trades at 1,065.05. That's up more than 900% from its 52-week low. And storage chipmaker SanDisk, ticker SNDK, is up 4,785% from its low of $40 per Benzinga Pro. Cook said he has never witnessed a commodity swing of this magnitude across 4 decades of working in electronic supply chains that includes IBM, Compaq, and Apple. Quote, "This is a 100-year flood," end quote. And as he told the Wall Street Journal, he went on to finish, "I've never seen anything like it in any area in over 40 years. So we've talked a lot about this. You guys have traded these stocks with great success, frankly. Lots of money to be made in the memory stocks. What's interesting here is that the company initially viewed this as kind of a temporary thing. Now they're capitulating on that and telling you, you know what, we are going to have to raise prices here because of the increase. It's safe to assume that these memory companies are going to do everything they can to build more capacity, more fabs, produce more chips. But we've seen from history that this type of action actually is like a pendulum swinging back and forth. And frankly, you swing to one end and then you overcorrect and swing to the other. The only question that I have is how long is this going to take? Remember, a lot of these memory companies have their supply and their materials booked out in some cases through or into 2028. So it'll be very curious to see how fast they can actually alleviate some of these increases in the memory prices. I don't know what the answer is to that. And in the meantime, some of these Apple devices, and I would imagine others as well, are going to end up costing more. See what that does for the stock. Apple here, by the way, quick peek at this. Apple was actually higher overnight. It closed yesterday at 295.95, and it's currently at 296.66 here in the pre-market. This is off its pre-market and after-hours highs. All right, next story here. This is one that we talk about all the time. I know that there are folks waiting to trade this. We get asked about it all the time. We had Mark Petrino break this down. We've had 13 break this down. Pretty much anyone that looks at the stock market has at some point talked about Netflix. And really the question out there is, when is Netflix a good buy? Because it's certainly not going the way of Blockbuster, right? Right? Netflix stock trades at its cheapest valuation in 4 years. And Shea Belur is calling that a massive opportunity. Netflix shares have pulled back sharply, leaving the stock trading at its lowest valuation multiple in nearly 4 years at 25 times earnings. While Wall Street frets over a perceived growth slowdown, Futurum Equity's Shea Belur argues the market is misreading the business, presenting what he calls a massive opportunity right now for savvy traders. Belur emphasizes that despite the recent stock decline, quote, Netflix is clearly not a broken company, end quote. Instead, the streaming giant continues to deliver exceptional execution with year-over-year revenue climbing 16% and operating income growing 18%, supporting expanding margins. Quote, to me, that retention data is probably the most important data point. Netflix raised prices and retention improved anyway. That is real pricing power to me, end quote. Again, that came from Shea Belur. This dynamic feeds the intact flywheel in which robust engagement supports margins and directly funds future content, which we've identified they have a problem with. A major critique dragging down the stock is Netflix lacks the heavy AI infrastructure narrative dominating the current bull market. However, Belur views this absence of speculative spending as a major benefit. Netflix does not need, quote, AI spice, end quote, attached to its identity. Instead, it can seamlessly integrate AI as a margin and monetization tool to optimize content, production, and advertising efficiency. Furthermore, the company is rapidly scaling its ad-supported tier, now boasting over 250 million users, which was up from 94 million users a year ago, and expanding into repeatable live sports to secure essential, quote, appointment viewing, end quote. With a price-to-earnings ratio of 24.83, according to Benzinga Pro, Netflix is also hitting a crucial technical juncture. Stock recently retreated towards its 200-week exponential moving average of 94.94, according to Pro, the support zone defended during past acquisition dramas. While technical indicators show a prolonged short-term downtrend, this valuation compression combined with stable underlying numbers suggests a powerful risk-reward setup. As Bloomberg concludes, the market remains temporarily hyper-fixated on what Netflix isn't, completely overlooking what it, quote, continues to do exceptionally well. Now, this is an interesting story, and I totally get it. Like, where's the buy spot for Netflix? Throw it in the chat if you have a buy spot here for Netflix. Let me know what you think. Izzy here. So is Netflix a buy down here? That's what I'm asking you. That's what I'm asking you, folks. Technically, you can make the technical case for that, but I still think the content problem looms. And actually, we had headlines yesterday that they are looking, I think, to deal with Lionsgate to try and expand their content library. Derek, I appreciate this. I might buy Netflix if it hits 50. HGAO says Netflix is a late 2027 play. I think you're implying that there's more time there to actually get long on that before we get a move. Carl says, I'm not buying Netflix, which I totally get. Izzy says 70 has to be a buy. I'll tell you what, let's take a quick break here from the news. Let's go back to Pro and let's take a look at the chart. I know we often look at Netflix, but maybe we'll do this again. HGAO says maybe 60 in terms of a possible level. Here's what we have on Netflix. Let me actually zoom out a little because we have a couple of ominous signals. It's big of bees. You're doing it every day, man. Netflix is net junk. Good times. Okay, looking at the Netflix weekly chart, I think it's pretty clear that you can see the impending head and shoulders formation that we have here, right? Clear left shoulder, clear head. Looks like it traded sideways for a little bit. Traded down right to the neckline. Maybe it traded past it a little bit and then bounced and formed the right shoulder. Now we're rolling back over and retesting that neckline. To me, this chart formation looks like we're going over. We're going lower, excuse me. And we also have the 200-week moving average sitting right there at 69.74. Now, if we go back to a daily chart here, you can see that the big test here is absolutely going to be 75. BJM says 75 is a big level for Netflix. Indeed, it is. The other thing about Netflix is that when we look on the daily chart, we did have a death cross. This was back here at the beginning of December last year. I understand that we traded down and traded back up, but we were rejected at the 200-day. That rejection ended up forming the right shoulder, and now we've moved lower still. So I do think that this is not a big call here, but I absolutely think the 75 test is coming, maybe even today. To Brian's point, we'll see if that holds. Looking past that 70 spot, I think we have a couple of other spots in here. This 70 spot looks real thick. That's thick with 3 C's, by the way. Next, I think 65 and 60 are probably going to be your next spots to look at here. And I would agree with the majority of the chat here that even if you, and I'm in the camp that I don't think their content is that great, and I prove that by not paying for them, unless they have NFL football games on it, then I pay for a month and cancel. I agree with the content problem, but nonetheless, if this stock comes in, hold 60, trade sideways at 60, or maybe even 65, I actually think that's not a bad spot for a long side swing. Ultimately, your risk profile is going to determine whether or not you want to do that. But looking at this chart here, looking at what we're seeing here with some of the formations, I think that wouldn't be a bad spot. I will have to ask 13 when he comes on here, because he does a lot when it comes to the head and shoulders. He does a lot of precise measuring to try and determine what some of those levels are. And I think he might have a level that's lower than 60. Someone remind me though when he comes on. We'll go ahead and ask him. But anyway, good stuff there on Netflix. Good stuff there, and keep those price levels coming here for what you think a decent buy would be. Okay, how are we doing on time? Oh my God, it's only 8:31. Dude, we are absolutely crushing this Synthetic Friday. We are absolutely crushing today. Next story, we're actually going to have plenty of time for ticker time. So I don't, you know what? Let me open up my note sheet because I'm sure you folks are going to absolutely flood the chat with tickers when I ask for them. And if I don't write them down, I'll forget them. So let's go ahead and open up my notepad. We'll get to that here in a sec. Next story here, though, this is going to be on Meta, the AI race, and data centers. Thought that this was important here, too. The Meta scale multiplier. Why the data center race is a power grid story. Now, we've talked about this quite a bit. I know we've talked about energy. That was our big theme going into this year anyway. It's been a massive winner so far. Still think that there's more legs on this. But this is also kind of confirming our AI infrastructure is really the phase that we want to be in for a lot of these trades. The global race to build data centers has accelerated to the point where Meta, ticker META, has ditched conventional plans, pitching billion-dollar tent cities. The situation is known. AI needs servers, which need liquid cooling systems, advanced chips, and warehouse-sized computing clusters. Yet, according to the new research from Wood Mackenzie, that narrative misses the bigger and far more metal-intensive story. Quote, most assessments of data center metals demand stop at the server room door, end quote. And that was from Shashank Shriram, senior research analyst for aluminum markets at Wood Mackenzie. He finishes off with, quote, that captures the smallest part of the picture, end quote. The consultancy's latest report argues that data centers aren't standalone technology assets, but rather giant power infrastructure projects. After grid upgrades, transmission lines, substations, and on-site generation, the total aluminum and copper demand rises between 3 and 4 times the volume of the data center itself. That distinction matters because it changes the outlook for commodity markets, just as the global metals supply chain is coming under unprecedented strain. The recent conflict in the Middle East exposes the fragility of global supply chains. According to Reuters, data from the International Aluminum Institute show that the Gulf region production run rates fell by 2 million tons through March and April after missile strikes damaged key facilities, including Emirates Global Aluminum's Al Tawali plant. In data centers, aluminum demand is concentrated in cooling systems, which accounts for about 55% of internal use, while racking and enclosures account for another 25%. This one's for you, Lion. Copper plays a critical role in high-density computing nodes and electrical systems, yet increasing production has become a global struggle. Global X Copper Mines ETF, ticker COPX, is up 101.7% year over year. The consultancy projects aluminum growth at 8 to 10% annually through the early 2030s. Still, they expect a plateau between 600,000 and 900,000 metric tons per year as AI-driven design optimizations and efficiency gains reduce material intensity. The real multiplier emerges outside the building. As utilities struggle to connect new projects quickly enough, large operators like Meta are increasingly constructing their own power ecosystems, whether it be solar farms, wind installations, battery storage, gas turbines, fuel cells, and even emerging small modular reactor concepts are becoming part of the standard playbook. Wood Mackenzie estimates that this facility-level power layer alone effectively doubles the data center metals footprint. Busways, structural housing, and distribution systems need aluminum, while high-load electrical connections and grounding infrastructure require copper. Still, that demand excludes the grid itself. Annual data center-driven power additions could rise from 15 to 20 gigawatts today to 30 to 33 gigawatts in the early 2030s. More than half of that growth is expected to occur in Asia Pacific, while North America remains the early leader in deployment. Quote, these are not incremental grid connections, end quote. That was from the Wood Mackenzie report. They are major reinforcement programs designed to handle power loads that existing networks were never built to absorb. At that scale, aluminum dominates transmission lines and utility frameworks, while copper becomes indispensable in substations and other underground connections. The relationship is not one of substitution. Quote, the split between two metals is not a function of price, end quote. Physics defines outcomes. Price influences the boundaries. And so, to me, again, this also just leads back to the AI infrastructure really being the big theme that we're in. Lion, I know you had talked a ton about copper in the past. I would wonder, I think you're still long. You'll have to correct me on that, whether or not. But you'll have to let me know what you think here. Are you looking to get more? Are you interested in aluminum alongside copper? Are you focusing on copper and all of that? I know you like the chips. I know you absolutely love Marvell and Micron and all the memory names. But let me know what you think about some of this infrastructure that is inevitably going to play into the grid, which we're going to have to upgrade. We're already seeing that, frankly. All right, last piece of news here. It has to do with the AI race. I know we talk about this AI circular funding stuff. Well, apparently the people that work at these companies also are doing the same thing. They're just jumping ship from one and going to another. Google's Gemini co-lead Naum Shazir joins OpenAI. Sam Altman says this was 10 years in the making. 10 years. Naum Shazir, vice president of engineering and Gemini co-lead at Google DeepMind, announced on Wednesday he's leaving to join OpenAI. Sharing the news on X, Shazir wrote, quote, "I'm excited to share that I'll be joining OpenAI and look forward to working with the exceptional team there," end quote. Easy for me to say. The American computer scientist added that it was a, quote, "difficult decision to move on," end quote, and said he was incredibly proud of his work at Google. Responding to Shazir's post, OpenAI CEO Sam Altman called him, quote, "one of the people I have most wanted to work with since the very beginning of OpenAI," end quote. He added that the partnership was only 10 years in the making. Shazir is no ordinary engineer. He is best known as the co-author of the landmark 2017 paper, "Attention is All You Need," end quote. And in fact, if you've listened to Chamath Palihapitiya, he has talked a lot about this. His last Joe Rogan appearance was all about how important attention is in every single business line. Anyway, this laid the foundation for modern large language models and sparked the AI revolution that followed. His trajectory spans over 2 decades at Google, a stint as CEO of AI character maker Character.ai, and a return to a lead Gemini development. After leaving Google in 2021, he co-founded Character AI, which later signed a licensing deal with Alphabet, no surprise there, in August of 2024. Under that agreement, Shazir and co-founder Daniel DeFreitas rejoined Google's DeepMind, where he rose to VP of Engineering and Gemini co-lead. Shazir's departure comes just weeks after Alphabet introduced new AI products, including the Gemini 3.5 Flash model and the Gemini Spark AI agent at its annual Input-Output Developer Conference. Shazir's move highlights the growing competition for AI talent among major technology companies. The hiring follows Liz Wames joining OpenAI as the head of recruiting after more than 3 years at Netflix. And as the company aims to nearly double its workforce to 8,000 from 4,500 by year end. So the brain drain is real. We've talked about brain drain in other industries. We're actually seeing that in the AI world as well. They're just moving from company to company. I got to imagine those salaries are competitive. I bet they are competitive. Okay. All right, let's go ahead. Let's see, what time is it? It is 8:40. Let's go ahead and do street tweets now. Then we can start doing ticker time. I'm out of news here, so we can kind of just take a look around and see what's going on. We should have 13 on in about 20 minutes. We'll break down the pre-market pulse. We can do all of that. So let's go ahead and take care of street tweets right now. All right, this one is going to be about ETFs here. This comes from the Kobisi letter. Passive equity funds are taking over the market. We've talked about this a lot. We've talked about the AI, or not the AI, the ETF kind of revolution, more ETFs than stocks. We talked even about this creating a potential like bubble scenario here. The 3 largest S&P 500 ETFs now have a record 2.6 trillion in assets under management. This represents 17.4% of assets under management in all U.S. ETFs and 11.9% of assets under management in global ETFs. The S&P 500 ETF VOO alone now has assets under management of over $1 trillion, the first ETF in history to surpass such a milestone. This is followed by the S&P 500 ETFs IVV and SPY, whose assets under management surged to a record $860 billion and $780 billion, respectively. Combined assets across these 3 funds have tripled since their 2022 bear market, and the ETF market has never been bigger. Now, I know we trade a lot of these ETFs here on a regular basis. Does this concentration worry anybody? I know we've kind of talked about this before. Just wanted to surface this again and see if any of you are worried about all of the different ETFs that are available out there. All right, let's go back to Pro here. Thank you, producer. And let's take a look. Let's do some ticker time here. You know what? Actually, before we do that, I want to congratulate the Benzinga team. They released a new version yesterday, and this marks several consecutive releases where we've really attacked what customers have asked for, whether it be fixes or improvements. And we have done it with exceptionally good stability, even around market holidays. So big time shout out to the folks that never get in front of the camera, but still work their ass off behind the camera. They really do great stuff in creating this product for us. One of the things that has happened in this is we now have the ability to copy content from any news story within Pro. And so if I take a real world example of this, let's click on the movers here. We often break down all of these different stocks here, and sometimes these stocks are being moved by a press release or some other piece of news. And press releases can be wordy. SEC filings can be difficult to sift through unless you're extremely practiced at it. And a lot of the time, some of these news stories use jargon or use language that's designed to elicit some type of response, right? They want to sound bullish. They use a lot of hyperbolic language to make things sound good. Well, we're blessed because these AI tools really help us synthesize this information very, very quickly. And now Benzinga's taken another step forward to allowing us to do that. So I want to just kind of run through this here real quick. Here's FreeCast, ticker CAST. You can see that at the pre-market here today, this absolutely ripped, traded up to $16 after closing at $5.15 yesterday. Triple in the pre-market here today. Now it's coming back to earth, thankfully. But if we wanted to say, okay, what's going on here? Traditionally, we would probably click on the news tab here and we would observe what news is going on. Okay, FreeCast launches Starlink business connectivity solutions through Starlink's reseller agreement. And our news desk team has tried to help by very quickly producing a line here that says FreeCast enters the reseller agreement to offer Starlink business services to enterprise and community markets. They're giving you a little bit more information on who that Starlink is going to service. Now, we can actually take this a step further. We can go ahead and have AI help us with this. So if I click on the press release itself, you can see it actually loads the press release content. These are some bulleted lists and a whole bunch of language. So what we can do now is we can scroll up to the top. We can mouse over the universal copy icon and select copy body right from this. We successfully copied all of the content to the clipboard. Now what we're going to do is we're going to have AI help us. We're going to open up Benzinga AI. We're going to put it right beneath the movers tool here. And we're going to say, break down this PR for me. Tell me what it means and if it is good or bad. And then we're going to paste what we copied in there and we're going to press enter. And the goal here is hopefully to have the AI tool help go through some of this information and give us a kind of a clear picture on what's going on here. So they announced the strategic reseller agreement for the Starlink business. The agreement follows FreeCast to act as a reseller of Starlink. It kind of breaks down the different platforms here and some of the different verticals that it's in. Whether this is viewed as a positive or negative development depends on the execution of the bundled strategy versus the risks of the reseller model. So what they're telling you is, yeah, it probably sounds good on the surface here, but ultimately it's not, we're not going to be able to determine if this is good or bad until we actually see some results from the execution. Then it outlines some of the potential upside here. By offering the hardware alongside the software, FreeCast removes a major barrier to entry for remote or underserved locations. These would be like RV resorts and rural hospitals and things like that. This adds managed technology service fees and broadband revenue to their existing subscription and ad-based model, potentially stabilizing their cash flow. That's really good. And it also gives it a strategic moat. Building connectivity with a proprietary media stack makes it harder for customers to switch from a competitor who only offer one of those two. Now, here are some of the bad. Here are some of the risks for this. As a reseller, FreeCast margins in the Starlink portion of the deal may be thin. So although they're getting more of this business, how much of that actually goes to the bottom line? That's going to reflect whether or not FreeCast ultimately trades up and holds those levels. Managing hardware distribution and satellite connectivity support is more complex than running a software-only platform as a service business. Yeah, when you rely on putting things and using things in space, there's an added level of complexity there. That makes sense. And then forward-looking uncertainty here, the press release relies heavily on potential revenue streams. This is the key. Potential revenue streams. There's no guarantee of immediate adoption by these markets. So this can be a really helpful tool in kind of just going through all of this stuff and kind of making sense of this. And now we can do this on the fly, if you will, right here within Pro. We don't even need to leave Pro here. So really excited about this feature. I suspect we're going to be using this a lot upcoming here. It's just going to help us. This is especially going to shine in some of those SEC forms because those things are laid out stupidly and they've always kind of been cumbersome for me to go through. This is going to make it a lot easier. Okay, now let's talk about some stocks. Let me take a look here at the chat and see what you guys and gals suggested. Creation said COPP. That must have been while we were talking about those copper stocks, right? Because this is the copper miners. Now, this is interesting. We actually had a really good discussion yesterday with Ed Iglinski from Direction regarding some of the different metals, and he was talking about gold when it comes to gold and the gold miners and how the gold miners trade differently. This is the copper miners. This is not one that I watch very often, but I'll tell you what, Creation, you give me your input here. This chart looks bullish to me, and it sure looks like, yeah, it's running into some resistance here at 45, but it looks like it wants to punch through that. So to me, right now, key level absolutely looks like 45 to the upside. Key level is going to be 40.11 to the downside. That's going to be our volume point of control here. We're kind of in the middle of that range. So as far as a trade here, I want to see if this can run to more highs. Can we break 45 and sustain that? Maybe we can go on a run. If we trade back down to 40 and hold it, that might be the low end of the range and might be worth a swing there on COPP. Let me know if you had anything else on this. I'm just still kind of looking at the chart here on this one. I know we just talked about the copper demand not going anywhere. I like a lot of these. I like these to inevitably go higher. But as far as figuring out where your best entry is going to be, I think we still need to look at the chart for that. Bruce, still asleep. Wake up, buddy. There's coffee somewhere. Go get it. The market is not going to wait for anybody. Lion, I was asking you earlier about, did you like this stuff? You said copper, aluminum, rare earth minerals are must own. So are you, from that comment, I can tell that you're not selling any of this stuff. Are you adding anything? Are you looking to add anything? I know Freeport's been a big one. I know silver and gold have been a big ones. Are you looking to add anything else on that? Let me know. And then you also threw out some more tickers here. Boy, you guys threw out just a whole bunch of those rare earth tickers. USAR is one of them. We've done a lot on this one. We've done a lot of charting on this one. This actually recently did a great job holding the 200-day moving average. Actually looks like it's trying to recapture the 20 as we speak and maybe move towards some of these recent highs in a 30 handle. I would agree with the rare earth here. To me, I think this is one that if you can get any type of support level here, and boy, oh boy, that 200 looked pretty good. If you can get any type of support level here, this is probably a decent add for a swing. MP fits into the same category there. I guess we could take a very quick peek at the chart. This one's trading sideways here and is actually below its 20-day moving, its 200-day moving average. So perhaps if we get across there and then a breakout of this sideways channel, which has we've really been in here since October of last year, a breakout of this channel is going to be the trade that I want to make. We have some very, very strong support down here at 50, and we're not yet above the 200-day. It looks like we've got some significant resistance up there at about 73. So 23-point range here, not the greatest. We're kind of in the middle of that at the moment on MP. Durkis, you wanted to take a look at OTLK. OTLK, let's do it. This is Outlook Therapeutics. This is going to be one of those little guys. This one actually had some interesting movement. We traded this as a mover one day, didn't we? I could have sworn there was something on this recently. The ticker rings a bell, but nonetheless. Outlook Therapeutics here. This really did kind of come off the penny stock bottom that it put in. It found resistance at the 200. It had multiple attempts and then finally went through it. And what's great about this is that it continues to push away. Now, we never really back tested the 200. That would have been better if we did. If we had back tested it and held it, that would have been great. But we did pull back towards it. And buyers were saying, nope, we're not going to do that. Well, we're going to keep trading higher here. We did fill the gap, so that gap fills over. Certainly looks like the next area of resistance here is probably going to be 2, and then I would say this 250. 250 is going to be a previous high as well as the 500-day moving average there, OTLK. Bob said, big insider buying on Monday. Let's take a look at that. Thank you, Benzinga Pro, for having all of that information available at our fingertips. Let's check Bob and 13's comment. Fact check, true. Looks like there was a lot of open market buys here, including a $5 million buy here. They bought 8.54 million shares. This was this was an investment institute, wasn't it? Yeah. So this was actually a fund buying a bunch, taking a stake there. There's been a lot of buying on this. Boy, this goes. In fact, there's been very little insider selling at all in its history. For 2026, we have 6 recent insider buys. Again, one of them a fund buying a whole bunch of shares. Actually, they made 2 buys in that time. So, yeah, absolutely. OTLK, this is definitely moving higher here, probably on those insider buys as well. Okay. What else do we have here? Nokia and KNDS partner to provide battlefield connectivity for troops and unmanned systems. That's interesting. So that's ticker NOK. That wasn't on my radar here today. Here's NOK. We're higher by just shy of 2%. We're still beneath the 20-day moving average, which we really want to recapture. And much like the broader market, we didn't actually test the 50-day. We came in towards it, but we never actually tested it. Let's take a look and see what we have here on this news. Where did you get that? Is that fresh here? Yeah, I don't have that in here. Barb, where are you getting that from? Let me know. Gen Z Pool Guy, you want to take a look at Broadcom, AVGO. Oops. Let's do that. Here is Broadcom. We are, let's see, where are we at here today? 405 here in the pre-market, and that is just shy. Okay, so big thing here for Broadcom. We have the 20-day and the 50-day really kind of converging right just north of 410. We're currently at 405 here in the pre-market. It sure looks like we're going to test this area, but I would expect some resistance in there. Let's just call it 411 through 413. That would be your first significant resistance area. Now, if we're able to get above that, you enter a potential gap fill starting at 427. That doesn't stop till 478. So pretty decent gap above to fill here if we do have some of that upside momentum here on Broadcom. We have ex-dividend in 4 days. Let's see if make sure there's no fresh news here. Broadcom upsized tender offer to $3 billion, accepts 2.9 of $5.5 billion in tendered outstanding debt securities. I'll tell you what, this actually looks pretty good here today. What was our short interest on this? It was pretty nice. Yeah, there's nothing here in the short interest. This actually looks pretty good here today. I'd be curious to see if this can actually take out some of those near-term support areas. Let me actually go ahead and refresh. I don't know what just happened in my chart. All right. Look at Cast. We already looked at Cast, but I guess we can do it again. Oh, that's right, Bruce. You said you were still half asleep. That's why. That makes sense now. Let me go back to the chart tool. Let's make sure everything is back on here. It's not. Okay, fabulous. Go ahead and, oh no, for heaven's sakes. All right. Okay, cool. So nothing was actually broken. It's just fine. Just having a spaz attack. Sweet. All right. What was the next one? Cast. We actually just broke that down with the example from the PR there. All right. So here's what the Cast chart looks like. Again, ooh, do we have a trend line? Not quite. No, not quite. I'm actually going to chop that off, though. I'm going to add this here and see if this holds up here today. Maybe a potential target if we end up going there. I don't really have anything else new to say about Cast, to be quite honest with you. We kind of already talked about this negligible short interest on this one. The deal with Starlink, or the deal to be a reseller here of Starlink, it's traded 50 million shares here today. It's likely to be in play. I guess we could take a look at the 5-minute and see what kind of support areas we have on this. It definitely looks like 10 was a support area. Let me see if I have a fair value gap for you there. Yes, we do, actually. Yes, we do. Okay, so we did have, this is interesting. This is an interesting piece of data. Let me go back to my rectangle tool here. We had a fair value gap that was right in here to here. And this got hit in the pre-market and didn't really bounce from it. So, yeah, I don't know. And actually, what's the craziest part about this is that my bullish fair value gap ends right here. Let's actually color that green to make that look, oh, geez. Oh, geez. Okay, so there's your green fair value gap, but I also have a bearish one starting right here. Let me draw that. Oh, come on, Ryan. Get it together, bro. Get it together. This is what I'm trying to do. And let's go ahead and make this one red. So I don't know about this trade, folks. We've got two fair value gaps here. It looks like we're going to try and push through this one, but based on this actually looks like an area for a possible short and possible retracement. Cash short squeeze, Schwab borrowed my shares. According to the most recent read that we have, Kathy, the short interest is pretty negligible on this one. But if Schwab is borrowing your shares now, perhaps we can insinuate that short interest is increasing given the prolific move here today. I mean, am I surprised that someone's trying to short it with the stock up 130% on this? Not at all. Let's see which one of these fair value gaps ends up holding. Okay, look at Cast, OTLK. We already took a look at that. Izzy, Amazon. Is that the other Izzy with the Joker? Is that the same Izzy? Let me know. I'm guessing that you are if you're asking about Amazon. Here is Amazon. Big here on Amazon. Just hold to 200. For heaven's sake, just hold to 200 here. We've got a gap beneath that takes us down to like 213, maybe 200 after that. And then we also have a downside trend line here that should act as support. But more immediately, just hold to 200. Hold above this 232 area, and then maybe we can start to make a move back towards the top. Also, big time shout out. We talk a lot about Death Cross and Golden Crosses here. One of the things that we've said a number of times, 13 has tried to bang the table on it, is that when the Death and Golden Cross oscillate frequently, you often don't get the response from that. Take a look at Amazon here. We had a Death Cross on March 6th and a Golden Cross on May 1st, and we didn't really have either of those moves produce anything. So I think that this oscillation here, I think we can kind of ignore this until it makes kind of a more prolific move. Right now, as far as Amazon goes, please just hold that. Hold the 200 there. And actually, don't we have a Prime Day or something coming up? Isn't there something in July? Someone check me on that. We might have some type of Amazon event coming here shortly. All right, folks, it's 9 a.m. It's pre-market pulse time. Let's get it done. Good morning, 13. Happy Synthetic Friday.
Yeah, just trying to hang in there.
How do you feel? Any better or worse? Or
I feel worse.
I'm sorry.
I feel worse. I'm probably not going to be able to stick around the whole time.
I totally get it, man. You don't sound great.
Get some rest, but yeah, just trying to hang in there. I can go over some of the movers and then maybe look at some stocks, and then I'll just sign off for the day. And you'll see me next week, and I'll be better.
Okay, no problem. I'm sorry to hear that you're under the weather, my man. That sucks. We can call the ball. We can go wherever you'd like. From the start
well, I was looking at CDT and Cast, two names we traded before.
Perfect. Well, let's start with Cast here. I kind of covered the news here already. Just to kind of reiterate this, FreeCast enters a reseller agreement to offer Starlink business services to enterprise and community markets. 13, we also showed the new feature here in Pro that allows you to copy content from the PRs and other news sources and drop them into the AI tool here to derive some more insights. So really cool stuff that we can do now. What do you have on this?
Well, we looked at CAST. We actually traded CAST previously because they had a deal with DirecTV. Now this is a deal with Starlink. So this company seems to be trying to work on some kind of ecosystem for services and broadcasts that are all done not through cable. Let's just say the company doesn't have a float in Pro, but in my broker it's 16.26 million. The company has little revenue, little cash, and it's not profitable. So they're going to have to raise, unless I'm missing something here. They don't have a lot of cash. I would be cautious about CAST potentially raising. Looks like it's still making its way lower. We just have a bounce here, and if it can't recapture VWAP, probably will go lower as we approach the open.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I have it flirting with VWAP right now. It certainly looks like 10 was an intraday resistance that has recently turned into support. We'll see how strong that actually is. It does look like it's trying to bounce here right now, so we'll see if we maybe trade back higher on this. I'd want to see the volume expand, in particular during the open here on CAST.
No, thanks, Line. Yeah, I caught a cold from somebody else, so I'll just get past it. I'll be fine next week.
Chicago Realtor, thanks for doing some of the legwork here. Ryan, to answer your question, Amazon, Prime Day is Tuesday, June 23rd. Okay. Lion says every day is Prime Day. I know the feeling. There has been plenty of times where it seems like every day boxes are showing up to the house. So totally get that. Okay. What else do you want to do? CDT?
Yeah, CDT.
Okay.
This one was looking pretty good until a moment ago.
Sure was. CDT equity shares are trading higher after the company noted that Sarburg, which holds 1,020 shares in.
CDT holds 1,020 shares in Sarburg.
In Sarburg. Sorry for if I read that incorrectly.
No, it's worded horribly. So
will use proceeds from its subscription to launch the development of Sarburg Q.
Yeah. The more information's in the headline beneath it. If you click it, you'll get more details about it. But CDT currently owns 1,020 shares in Sarburg, and based on the price, the investor, based on the share price paid by the latest investor, would apply a value of 127.5 million in respect of CDT's shareholding in Sarburg. So apparently, I don't think Sarburg is publicly traded, but that's the news it's moving on. CDT, on the other hand, tell me if you heard this before. No revenue, needs cash, and it's not profitable.
We have heard that before. We've heard that frequently. Also, it doesn't have much of a short interest in here.
No, and losing the VWAP like we just have right now, pretty ugly, but we're down in a support area. You might have a fair value area right about here. So if we get these smaller EMAs to hold up, like the 9 and the 15, could see a turnaround here. But if we can't get back above, I would say the 9 on the 5-minute, it's probably coming back in some more.
The only fair value gap I had was right here. It was, in fact, a bullish fair value gap, so I'll color it accordingly. But boy, oh boy, like you were saying earlier, it was looking good until just recently. That went right through the gap, offered no support for that.
Yeah, so down at this, what is this? Looks like about 120, 125 might be your last level of support, and then look out below.
13, we have a home remedy straight from Europe here. Some warm whiskey with honey will fix you right up. 3 sips and you'll be flying.
Well, let's see.
I love how he's just got his whiskey within arm's reach there. That's how it's done, folks.
Yeah, I got to choose from the wall.
A wall of whiskey, Zach. Look at that, man. Look at that. Okay.
Should I go with the Macallan or the Dalmore? You decide.
There you go, Zach. You're a Scotch fan. Macallan or Dalmore, which is going to fix 13 up sooner. Oh, that's good stuff. 13, hang in there. All right. Next one here on the list. I don't know if you covered this here. Next one here is going to be Lynx. This is Linker Industries. This did spike a little bit yesterday in the after hours, but the big move came here today. It was an impulse pop that was faded. And let's see. Do we have any news here? No, it's just kind of moving off the news from yesterday. This was the acquisition of 150,000 outstanding shares of LPW Electronics, 2.35 million. I don't see anything else new on this. It looks like this is just kind of on the processing of the news from yesterday. But it's up 76% here today. Now, short interest on this is high. It's down from its prior read, but it's still elevated, 27.2%. The days to cover on this is 1. So it's high on percent of float shorted, but not really high on days to cover. On average, it trades 1.7 million shares. It's done shy of 30 million here today, and the float is 1.33 million. I got to be honest, 13, I don't love the intraday chart pattern here. I don't love these big pops and the immediate retracement and the inability to recapture VWAP. I'd like to see some more strength from it, but maybe this bottoms, maybe 250 possible support area for this to turn around.
Maybe. I think I would want to see a recapture of 3. That was support in the pre-market before we lost it about an hour ago. And we haven't been able to recapture it, but we are the price is moving back up to that resistance level now. So if we can get back over 3, we're probably back in business. Just a lot of sellers to get through here if we're going to re-enter that level.
Okay, good stuff there. LNKS. We'll see if this provides us a trade. Guys, I will get to Bird. I have to do this just in case we lose 13. We have to get one bia here today. It's not, we've had multiple of these stocks. This is Parkha Biological Tech. This did trade up in the after hours. We've seen this one trade before. It's a China name, so be careful with this. Looks like right out of the open or the pre-market open here today, we traded up towards 220 and reversed and came back in. Nothing fresh here today. The last piece of news that I have was the closing of the $2 million registered direct offering that was Monday this week. So it looks like it's just kind of trading action after that. Holding higher here by 33%, less than 1% of the float shorted. Float on this one, 3.35 million. You have anything here? This thing can't get above its VWAP.
If you can back that 5-minute chart out so you can see last Friday's price action, you'll notice that it's very similar to the price action we had in the after hours in the pre-market here, just less pronounced. I think what could happen here might be very similar to what we got that day, that Friday, where maybe we start rising into the open, we pop, and then we come back in and sell off all day. I don't have high expectations for this.
Okay.
But I would definitely lean on some of these past levels here for resistance. Looks like $2. Very, very clear level based on this 5-minute chart here, looking backwards. And I kind of just think that that's what we might end up getting here is we'll probably get a rise and maybe even a lift into the open and maybe some selling the rest of the day. So $2 is one level, 230 is the next, and then you're in this consolidation from Friday.
Okay. All right, good stuff there on BYAH. Okay, but 13, before you head off, I do want to run to the washroom, so I want to put up some stock that you can take a quick look at here. But let's look at what the chat is asking for here. Lion, we're going to keep going through these. Look, if you don't like a man, make another cup of coffee or something. We'll be done with this pretty soon. We're not skipping this. There are plenty of people that are here to take a look at this every single day, and we're going to keep doing it. Next one we're going to look at here is going to be Bird. This is Allbirds. This was the story here still makes me laugh. This company used to make shoes, and now they're doing AI compute. So it's like, okay, that doesn't really seem like a natural transition. You can see that the stock went absolutely buck wild yesterday in the regular session. It's up another 13% here today. Here's the news that we have from yesterday. Smartbird appoints a new CEO to advance the AI infrastructure story. Allbird shares are trading higher after the company appointed Nadia Carlston as president and CEO. Company also increased the size of its convertible financing facility from 50 to 100 million. So it looks like we're still kind of moving on this. This thing is all over the place. It is, the last time we traded this, it was spread bigly. Let's see what we're looking at here. I know it's the premium. Okay, so spreads have actually tightened here. I don't see any tradable fair value gap on the intraday chart. We are basically right by the VWAP. Quick peek at the short interest on this. 18.75% of the float shorted. We are approaching high territory there. Days to cover of 2.15. Float here, 5.3 million. 13, do you have anything here on Allbirds?
Looking at the chart, this appears like it could go higher. You have a formation. You have a formation here that could result in a cup with handle, a scallop, or even a ascending triangle. All of these look pretty bullish here. So what I'd want to see going into the open here is we've got to hold 6. And if we can do that, 665 EMA, if we can do that, we should be able to push beyond some of the pre-market highs. I would say beyond 675. 670 looks to be about the high, so maybe there. But I think that this is trying to trade up into a break above that resistance here. That's just what it looks like. So if we can hold that $6 level, that's we should see that upside.
Okay. Tess says, loving Bird. Cleo's chirping away in the other room. He seems to love it too. So giddy up on Bird. We'll see if we get a trade here on this. Jay, it's good morning. It's good to see you. You're late because you got fogged in at Shinnecock. Okay. Well, there you go. Let me know. Is the winning score going to be a plus number this year? Let me know. All right. 13, a couple more stocks that I want to cover here. Would you mind taking a look at UUUU while I step away real quick? Sure. This actually had news. This is Energy Fuels. I'll just read the news here and I'll let you take over on this one. Energy Fuels shares are trading higher after the company announced it received a conditional 20-year, $725 million financing commitment from the Department of War to support the planned expansion of its critical mineral processing capabilities and construction of a planned rare earth metals and alloy facility in the U.S. I mean, look, just reading the headline there, this sounds awesome. Looking at the chart formation here, 16% pop, actually more than 17. Looks like $18 was some actual resistance. We're doing a great job holding above the VWAP here. Quick peek at the short interest on this name, 16% of the float shorted. So it's actually somewhat significant. Days to cover, 4.47. Maybe we get some squeezing action off of this. Float just shy of 250 million. So it's thicker than some of the other ones that we take a look at. But here's the chart here. I'm going to step away for just one sec. I'll be right back. All right, buddy?
Okay. So I know this as a nuclear name. So the rare earth angle is a bit new to me. The nice thing that we can see from the chart is that this is coming up to the, looks like we're past that now. What's it, 1784? So that takes us, oh, no, that's right. Okay, so we're just shy of the 200-day SMA, which is right beneath the 50-day SMA. If we continue to trade underneath those two moving averages, we could see the 50 cross beneath the 200 for a death cross. But if we can climb back above that today, that should prevent that from happening. Those are the two big moving averages that I would keep an eye on. Let me look at a smaller time frame, 5-minute chart here. Yeah, it's kind of, trying to hold these levels up here above 1750. Let's draw a trend line here from the highs through that peak and see what it gets. Looks like that trend line could get broken. And if it does, then we are going to see the other side of the 200 and maybe even the 50-day SMA. So I guess I would lean on that for now. If you have a 5-minute chart up and you see those two highs, the one at 1818 and then that one that had a high of $18 even, around 855. Those two points, I would draw a trend line for. And as soon as we can break this trend line and hold above it, that should tell us how much more upside, or that should give us an idea of just how much upside we're going to be getting. But yeah, I think that we need to hold those. And I would have to do some more work on this because I only thought this was a nuclear play. So apparently they also have a rare earth angle as well.
Where was that trend line? My ears were burning. I came back right as you said trend line.
The 1818 high and then that high at 855.
Got it.
Yeah, those two. Looks like we're trying to push through both of those right now.
Sure does.
So if we get above that, then we should be on our way to recapturing that 200-day SMA.
Okay. All right. Did we hit everything that you folks wanted to take a look at? We got BA for the lulls. We got UUUU for James. We got Bird for Tess. Am I missing anything?
I wouldn't bother with ADTX.
Yeah, that's like a 10-cent penny stock, right?
Not even that.
Yeah, no, we're not covering that. Sorry, guys. QTEX, right? That was the other quantum one that had news here today. All right, we'll take a look at this one here real quick. This is QTEX. This is QT-Rex Quantum. I think that's how it's pronounced. Stock is up 18% here today, 18.5%. QT-Rex expands into quantum processor interface with single build cryogenic chip carrier. All right, let's go ahead and have AI help us with this. I'm going to turn this over to 13 here in a sec, but real quick, let's take a peek at the short interest. 19% of the float shorted. We only have one reading on it too. That's interesting. Float on this one is 50.5 million. Here's what the chart looks like. What do you think on this one, 13?
It looks like this is trying to push higher. We had this impulse move on Monday that took us. We printed highs of 262. Spent a couple days coming back in. Looks like we found some support from the 20-day SMA that showed up, and now we're rebounding off of that. I would be keeping an eye on 250 for a resistance break. That looks like the resistance is.
And as far as the news here, this marks a significant technical pivot and a potential commercial catalyst for the company.
Could be good.
That could be good. The design was supplied by a major US-based technology company. By using a single build process, QT-RX has integrated conductive pathways, shielding, and interconnects. Okay, that's more of the technical aspect of it. This is a positive development, although it carries the typical risks of early stage deep tech. That has me immediately thinking about funding and whether or not they have it. We'll take a look at that here in a sec. Pre-revenue, early stage.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it sure is. It's seen momentum recently, including a $1 million grant from the Israel Innovation Authority and a purchase order from a Fortune 500 company earlier this month. The stock has been highly volatile as well. It tells you to watch some of the other quantum names like Ionic and QBTS, as well as the NASDAQ. So, okay.
A lot of different requests here. I do have one that I brought up yesterday after we had our happy hour because there was news about it. So apparently in Southern California, there was a warehouse fire. There's a cryogenic warehouse fire that belonged to a company named Lineage. And they hold a bunch of, cold food products there for distribution. And that caught on fire. It was in Boyle Heights, I believe. And the stock started going down. I don't know how much of an impact this is going to have, but I thought it'd be worth bringing up in case it's worse than we thought. I don't think it is because it doesn't seem like the fire got inside the building, which would have been a whole other problem because there's tons of ammonia in there. So that crisis might have been averted, but there's still damage to the building, and it's pretty large building. So just thought I'd put that out there. Maybe there's something here. I don't know how much, but we did have some news that pulled it down in the after hours yesterday.
And I'll tell you what, 13, those pictures from that fire were absolutely incredible. There was black smoke filling the sky. Yeah. And I think initially when I first saw that come across on X, it said that it looked like the solar panels themselves were having the problem, but it turns out that that's not the case. Yeah. Right? Okay.
I don't think that was the case, no, but they were easily catching fire. And because they were already so hot, it didn't take much for a flashpoint.
So hot right now. Great Zoolander reference right there that we're going to throw in. All right. Are there any? There's a lot of suggestions here. SpaceX, Hive, Selena mentioning Starwood. I don't know how much there is to break down on Starwood, honestly. We talked about some of the levels here. It really is at the support level. But my view on this is long term. I think one of the reasons this is moving down is because the Fed stuff, right? It looks like there were more hikes priced into the dot plot. So perhaps that makes high yield dividend paying stocks less attractive. To me, this is just add-on weakness. I have a long-term view on this. I'm actually down on I think my average price is like 18 and we're at a 1662 handle. So I'm down on the overall equity, but up total because the stock has been paying me a dividend for so long. So
yeah,
I know this looks nasty. 16 is really the big level, but I'm not really worried about this at the moment.
I mean, I would think that some of these dividend payers would start to become more attractive if we're going to be, well, maybe not for raising rates, but we're not going to, I don't think we're going to be raising rates to the point where we're going to be beating some of these dividends either.
Me either.
So some still might be very attractive, especially ones that are paying over 5%.
Yeah, and I mean this one's over 10%, and this is, these are Barry Sternlicht's Class A properties that paid all their bills during COVID. I just don't see it being at risk. Okay. Was there anything else? Oh, SpaceX. Do you want to take a look at space? And then Hive. You guys were asking how much time do we have? We have 8 minutes. That's definitely enough for two stocks. So we'll start with Hive, and then we'll go to SpaceX here, if that's all right. Hive Digital Technology shares are trading higher after the company announced it acquired the Big Bowden 32 megawatt data center from Bowden's. I can't even pronounce that word. What?
Udvecklings?
Udvecklings. I'll tell you what, you being sick might increase your ability to pronounce things. That was extremely impressive. What 13 said, the company's subsidiary, Buzz High Performance Computing, announced a collaboration for the development of advanced AI workloads on Canadian infrastructure. So there's your news here. The stock is up 11%. We're at 441 here today. It certainly looks like $5 is a significant resistance, and 13, I cannot help it, but there is a trend line literally jumping off the page. We'll see if we test that here today. Let's do a quick peek at the short interest on this name. Shoot, I don't have do you have a float reading?
Let's take a look and see what I got in my broker. I have a float reading of 265 million shares.
Okay, and I have a short interest reading here of 38.75. So you said 200 and what?
Well, my broker says 265 million shares. I see in Pro that the outstanding is 253. So let's just say it's around 250.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. And then we had 38,750.
It's very heavy, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah. So 38.
And this, I like this news because it falls in line with what I've been saying about the search for data center capacity. That's why I brought up Fermi, because there's so much pushback on data center developments and communities that they're getting NIMBY. So I think that this this search for available compute that's not going to be harassed, let's just say by community pushback, is kind of the play I'm looking at right now. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the reasons why Fermi's been doing so well.
And just some napkin math here for you. I've got about 14.6% of the float shorted based on the numbers that we just talked about. So it's still under our 20% short threshold. Okay, and then the last one there was SpaceX. How could I possibly forget SpaceX? Geez. Here's what we have. So we did have the first down day yesterday, and we're actually lower here in the pre-market. Question here, is it facing exhaustion? Well, I led with a news story here that Kramer says it's not a meme stock anymore because it couldn't carry. I don't know that it actually was a meme stock to begin with, but that's neither here nor there.
IPO volatility. I don't know what we're
exactly. This to me is part of the IPO life cycle. This is like 13 just said. This is IPO volatility. We had a bunch of euphoria around the open, and now, a lot of people have bought that. If retail is buying a lot of it, their dry powder is probably used up, or as much as they want is used up. And now we're going to actually have some price discovery here. I don't think any of this is necessarily bad.
No, but I think we can just look at these candles and kind of get an idea of where this might go. 2 days ago, we had this reversal candle, and then we ended up with yesterday we ended up with a engulfing candle, a bearish engulfing candle. So totally expect more downside to happen. But I think I'd be keeping an eye on that 175.50 as support. That is the performance threshold. Okay, that was a weird little
that was a weird candle, but it's not real, guys.
Okay, I was like, what the hell? Anyway, so yeah, that's I'd be keeping an eye on that level, the 175.50 for support. As I was saying, that's the performance thresholds when they report their Q2 earnings later, like I believe in August, we're looking at. If they can maintain 5 of those 10 days during that reporting period above 175.50, an additional 10% of shares will unlock. So I think there's an incentive to try and keep the price above this, so that if you're already a shareholder that has restricted or locked shares, you're going to want to see this continue to hold above 175.50. So I think that's going to be a support area.
Okay, 175.50, our support area there. Good stuff there on SpaceX. Okay, 4 minutes till we open here. Is there anything else that you folks want to take a look at? Microsoft?
Let's see here. Microsoft.
13, here's what I want to know.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I want to know. Do we fill out this?
No, I don't think that's what I would be looking at. It's just because, like, where do you have the neckline then?
Yeah, it does look a little crummy. I mean, yeah, that's janky for sure.
Yeah, for now, I would say we're probably headed towards a potential triple bottom. I guess you could even draw trend lines from the April Liberation Day unwind through the March low that we had this year, and you have a trend line that I think I don't want to see break. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure does. Got it added.
I think that's what I'd be keeping an eye on.
Okay, I think that's pretty good there with Microsoft.
And, that's just the chart. Under the hood, there's some real concern about their gaming segment and how they're trying to get these games ready for PlayStation, but they still haven't fixed the problems with PC and Xbox. I don't think I have enough time to really get into it, and there's a lot that I'd have to pull up to read to you.
It's okay.
There's some real concern about Microsoft's gaming segment. They've been laying off a lot of people. They're closing a lot of studios. There's just a big concern about the kind of content we're going to be getting here. So,
all right, good stuff there on Microsoft. Kenneth saying that Velo looks good. Velo actually having a decent pre-market here. Maybe we'll start trading back up here on Velo. Let me go to a 15-minute. First spot to monitor here on Velo, probably 28. If we can get back above 28, maybe we go for that trend line target. Velo 3D Systems. All right, we're less than a minute. I'm going to flip over to the main workspace. Get ready for the open here.
All right.
13, you do whatever you got to do, man. If you need to leave, I will land this plane. No problem at all. I'm sure everybody understands.
Yeah, I think I'll just do that. I'll take off, and I'll wish everybody a good weekend, a long weekend. Just keep that in mind. We could see some selling into this long weekend, so don't forget about that. But hopefully, I think I'll be better by Monday. So until then, folks, enjoy the trading, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Okay. All right. Thanks, 13. Probably no happy hour then.
I'll be there.
Today. Oh, you will. You will be doing that. Okay. All right. Rest up, buddy. Rest up, buddy. I appreciate it all. All right. We are open here, folks. We're going to do the best job that we can here today. And forgive me if we have a little bit of dead air to here today. Forgive me if we have a little bit of dead air. All right. ADTX. So, wow, I was guessing if that was a 10-cent stock. It's literally 1 cent. It's literally 1 cent. Not something that I'm interested in. Let me refresh Pro here. Give it a fresh load right before we open. Or right as we're opening here. Velo continued higher. Some of the financials moving higher here. Goldman Sachs at the highs. Apple to the highs. Netflix bouncing off that 76.5 level. Some decent movement here out of the gate. All right, let's go back to the main workspace here. Interestingly enough as well, the SPY really firmed up here in the pre-market. Let me go back to that intraday chart. We'll take a look at that here together. Tracy, is the market open tomorrow? No. So not only is the market not open, but we are not working either. So there will be no show tomorrow and no trading activity. Get your golf rounds booked. Oh, that's right. It's Father's Day too. Okay. So here's SPY. We ripped right. Basically, we bottomed here at about 743, and we've been doing nothing but trading up since then. This actually looks like it might make a run towards 750 here, which we lost right at the Fed meeting yesterday. SPY trading above 745.80 in VWAP looks bullish for me today. I concur with that, at least early on here. Key levels that I'm watching to the upside, 748.64 and 749. That's an area, by the way. And downside is 745.80 to 744.42 and then 741-ish. So a nice little pop right out of the open there. What I would love for a trade is a pullback and a hold near VWAP, maybe even a little bit lower towards that 65 EMA. If we can find any type of support there, perhaps we can load this on a potential zero DTE call trade. VIX coming in a little bit as well, and Bitcoin, it is unchanged basically, but that intraday chart does not look all that great. So Bitcoin, our traditional risk-on indicator, not supporting us here today. All right, let's see what else we have off the scanner here. I'll also keep my eye on some of the unusual options here today. Interestingly enough, these are some Intel calls. They had news. These are the 135 calls. I think that's a new trade there. That is continuing to push up. Intel actually above its pre-market highs as well. Bird getting mentioned. Let's take a look at Allbirds here. It's been one of the better traders here. Let me put that in my broker too. I'll keep an eye on that in case I switch away. Allbirds pulling back here. Possible support area right here at 587. Looks like it is actually trying to bounce off of that. I have a very, very thin fair value gap that I just do not trust at all. Also lining up with this area. That's interesting. Allbirds might bounce from this spot. I would, this would be if I take this, I'll just say this now, just in case I don't have time to get it in later. If I take this, this is basically a scalp for me. I don't necessarily have any view that says Allbirds is going to blow through 7 and rip multiple dollars. Maybe it does, but I'd be playing this for a scalp here. And if you think that that's possible, then I might maybe play a little bit for a scalp and then scale out if we do break that $7 area. And then here, Scott saying Birds has no confirmation volume of the breakout, in my opinion. Scott, I would agree with that. The volume today so far less impressive, and the volume that we're seeing early here out of the open is profit-taking sellers volume, right? So we can't even get above the pre-market high. I think when we were on the last chart, we also drew this trend line here. Let's see if we can break that. 588 looks to be the support area so far. That is holding. Bird is definitely the word. Okay, B-Fly. Thank you, Kathy. I love the human chat scanners helping out here, especially on a day where 13 is under the weather. Here is B-Fly. That popped right out of the gate, right through. So this is the opposite of Birds, right? This actually looks like it has bullish action right after the open. SPY, by the way, pulling. This is exactly what we were hoping for. We'll see if this pulls down to the VWAP. I've got that VWAP. Let me actually give you that value there. 746.75 is our VWAP level there. We'll see if that gives any support. We do have the 9 EMA right beneath it. Tess saying yesterday was the scalp, today is a hold. Is that on Bird? Let me know which stock that was. I might have just moved too quickly, or the delay might be getting me on that. WDC, so some of our other memory names. Continuing to rip here. Here's WDC. We'll also take a look at Micron right out of the open. Micron popped and came back. Bird still holding that area, and the SPY dipped beneath the VWAP. We'll see where that finds some support. 460.5 next spot. Fermi up 10%. FRMI. This has actually been a really awesome swing winner here. I didn't play this one at all. Shame on me. But more gains here. Let's see if this runs into some resistance at 10. Bruce saying, ouch on Nokia. Let's see what happened with Nokia. Okay, so this is actually at a fairly interesting spot, right? It looks like it's trying to move lower here. And it actually did break this. Let's give this a minute or two to shake out, maybe to have this 5-minute candle close here. It looks like it's actually testing the double bottom intraday low from yesterday. Sergeant Sexy says, I'm betting Trump signs the deal today. Didn't he do that last night in Versailles? Someone check me on that. I'm pretty sure he signed it. I think there's more work that needs to be done on it, though. SPY continuing to pull. So we went right through the VWAP and the 9 EMA. We are continuing to pull here. Next possible support spot I see on the SPY. Let me measure this here for you. Sorry about this. 745. 745. Yes, he did sign. Okay, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. The market just got the 13 flu. Giovanni, let's be sure to tell him that at happy hour that the market was sick today because he got it from 13. That'd actually be fun. Thank you, Chris. He signed the MOU yesterday, said that the actual deal might get signed. Got it. Okay, and guys, Bird. It's All Birds is the name of the company. The ticker is Bird. I apologize. It actually does look like it's trying to hold the 65 EMA and fair value gap area around the 580s. It's trying to bounce here. No position for me on this one. Don't trust it. The next spot that we would really need to see here is a recapture of the VWAP at 722. If this is going to keep going. GPUS, this is a penny stock du jour. This is actually bouncing off of its VWAP, right? Yep, no position for me on any of the penny stocks. What else do we have in here? How's Intel doing? Intel, that moved higher, so more new highs here on Intel. Good golly. And then SpaceX, let's check in on SpaceX. I know we took a look at that earlier here today as well. SpaceX weak here today, more new lows. This is pulling back. Remember, 175.50 is the key level here that we need to take a look at. Jay also mentioning that ASTS, SATS, SpaceX all weak. So perhaps that halo effect now, we talked a little bit about the pendulum too. Perhaps that halo effect, we're now seeing the other side of that. SPY continuing to sell off here. Giovanni saying 744.42 is your next level. We're 30 cents away from that. Tesla at the lows, Ondas pulled back, SpaceX at the lows, Apple reversed its turn, Palantir getting smoked. That's beneath 130 now. Lots of pulling here. I see the joke about the 13 flu now. I get it. All right. Giovanni, I think the SPY might be trying to bottom around that level that you just gave. I think it might be trying to bottom there. We'll see if it's, we'll give it a minute here and see. I think that was probably a pretty good call. Let's take a look at B-Fly. That came back in a little bit, but it's still holding higher. We talked about copper here. Freeport McMoran. This is actually trading up. Looks like maybe this put in some support at about 69. Space bags are being made. Tess, I took some really nice gains in Adobe puts yesterday. You guys can hear the register ring on this broadcast, right? Tess, nice job on your trade there. We actually had Adobe possibly going lower, but it looks like you're going to reshort some of those pops if Adobe trades back up. That makes a lot of sense. Frozen King, AMAT was your winner here today. Let's take a look at AMAT. Haven't even brought that up yet today. AMAT having some nice continuation after yesterday, actually above yesterday's highs on this opening move. Bird, by the way, looks like it's trying to break that area that it was trying to use as support temporarily. And the SPY still holding here at 744.75. All right, definitely seeing lots of red here as stocks continue to pull. S&P futures went right through the VWAP. They're actually trying to bounce off the standard deviation, one standard deviation lower than VWAP. SpaceX holding 179 so far. I'll tell you what, I don't see anything great for a new trade here today. CDT, let me go back to that. That's a good call. That was one of our movers. Haven't looked at it yet. CDT is open and trying to go higher. Daniel, you're absolutely right. It is running into VWAP right now. So this 148, 150 area needs to get busted here on CDT. Let me bring that up in my broker and I'll see if I see anything off the level 2 that might be interesting. Let's see what we got here. Spread's great. Just 1 penny. I've got 152 as the key level in my broker, 148 here in Pro. This just kind of looks like normal trading here on the level 2. I don't see anything that stands out yet. Average options 13 is not feeling well here today, so he's taking the rest of the day off. He went to go rest up. Be sure to smash up the like and wish him well so that he can be back 100% on Monday. Zach wondering if we get a dip and rip on Ondas. I sure hope so because I still want that to close above the 200-day moving average. But I'll be honest with you. If it doesn't, it doesn't, man. Drones have just been weak. Drones have been weak. CDT still flirting with this VWAP. Does not have the strength to go above it. Does Chase not allow 0 DTE or is it only me? Chase? I don't know what broker you're talking about. Charles Schwab allows it. You might have to have the right options trading level on your account. Oh, wow. Accenture got blasted. Ticker ACN down 17% here. And by the way, it looks like CDT. I don't want to write that one off yet. Accenture trading lower after the company reported Q3 earnings and financial results and guided below estimates. Accenture doing its best to hold on to 129 here. Tara, he says he's talking about, no, he says JP Morgan. I don't think he's talking about TOS. Nikhil, I don't know, man. That you might have to reach out to the support at your broker and ask them. SPY is trying to bounce here, but let's see if it gets above the 9 EMA. Ondas still battling with 9. Bitcoin at the lows. Market is still trying to bounce. Okay. ACN is also hurting IBM as well. Okay, so IBM, that sympathy play. Yeah, that's what I thought too initially, Tara. But not the case. Barb, I can empathize with this feeling, believe me. I'm about to get out of Bird, so it's going to rip. Not investment advice. It's not investment advice. Interestingly enough, guys, Fermi calls hitting the wire. These are 9 calls. Almost wonder if that's just kind of a new buy at the money. Looks like there were 9 and 10s on those option trades. SPY, that bounce got sold quickly, and that is now new lows on the SPY. Just going to roll through some of the stocks here. Oh my God. Barb, I'm sorry. This went right back to the VWAP. Sean says SMCI looks interesting. Let's take a look at SMCI. I'm still not interested in this. I think that there are better plays out here. This is having a nice day, though. What does the daily look like on this? I just can't get myself to like SMCI, folks. I just think there are better plays out there. I really do. Frozen King says, some days you feel like the tickers are actively working against you. Yes, I have been there. I keep telling myself that that's not possible and it's not true, but boy, oh boy, it sure feels like that on some days. CDT still testing its VWAP, notably cannot get above it yet. SPY 744.42 looks exhausted. Are you saying that the selling looks exhausted and that might be a bounce spot? And that's right. It is witching here today. Velo higher. That's actually working. That's one of the few stocks that's working here today, it seems. Okay, what else do we have here? The DRAM ETF up 8%. Memory continues higher. Remember, we had news here about Apple raising its prices because of the memory prices. Ryan, any thoughts on STRC with its concerns over NAV? I don't. This whole story here with strategy and all of that, I mean, this is one of the weirder ones, right? And it keeps getting weirder. Do I have concerns over this? Well, I don't own this. What is this? This is the Bitcoin treasury. This is Sailor's deal. I'm sorry, man. I don't have an opinion on this one. I really don't. I don't own this. I don't have an opinion on this. Roblox having a good day. Where's James? Is he still here? Actually, I should have asked James to give his Roblox thesis earlier today. This is actually having a good day. It looks like it found resistance at the same area it did yesterday, though. CDT halted. That's interesting. That went through the VWAP. Went through the VWAP and halted at 158. Halt time, by the way, 9:48.35. So we're looking at 9:53.35 as the possible resumption. And look at that. Cast got halted too. Cast, this one halted to the downside on a break of that pre-market low. Yeah, JD, that's no problem. I mean, look, there are so many stocks out there. I don't cover everything. It's actually another reason why I bring 13 on is because he has other things that he researches, and he is lights out when it comes to research, as you folks all know. That helps us as a group know more about some of the stocks that you ask. But ultimately, no matter if I have me, him, and Tim, well, maybe not Tim. Tim seems to know everything about every stock. But if it's just me and 13, there might be a stock that you come across we just don't have an opinion on, and I'll tell you that. I'll just tell you that. What do we have on the? Someone asked earlier if there were any unusual options on Oracle. I didn't notice any, but let me actually filter this. So we did have some call buys here. The July, those are weeklies, right? Let me see. Yeah, those July 24s are weeklies, and those August 21s are monthlies. So it looks like the August 270 call. I wonder if that was a call sale. And then the 195 calls for July, those weeklies for July. That's all I have here on Oracle. These option transactions, not interesting enough to have an opinion on the stock or the movement either way. Minimum wants to take a look at Hood. Chris, are you still out there, Big of Bees? I know you were talking about Hood quite a bit. That had a monster move yesterday. Looks like a little bit of profit taking here today. But this looks like it kind of stopped in no man's land, doesn't it? Let me take a look at the 15-minute chart. Back out a little bit here. Yeah, I don't know. This kind of looks like this turned around here in no man's land. I'd have felt better if this came in towards 102 before it bounced. Let's take a look at the daily. I am watching CDT, by the way, out of the halt. Ka-ching CDT. There you go, Bruce. Here. You guys can hear that, right? Let me know if you can hear the, I was messing around with some of my sound settings. Actually, let me check to see. No, chat mic. You guys probably can't hear that. Here we go. Let me go broadcast stream. Now you can hear it. There's your cha-ching, Bruce. I'm not going to shortchange anybody on their cha-chings. Let me give you an idea here, or let me get an idea from the group here. Who likes Hood? Who likes this chart? We had a nice move up to 150. We pretty much retraced down to the $67 level, which has been extremely sticky for us. And now we're kind of rebounding off of this. We talked about this on Happy Hour yesterday. Who likes Hood for the long term here? Yes, you guys can hear. Okay, great. We've heard the register ring the whole time. Okay, so my sound settings are messed up. Okay, I'll have to take a look at that. You heard both. Okay, great. Thank you. I'll look into. At least I have the right settings on here. Okay, we're approaching the CDT resumption time. Hood, I'm still holding at an average price of $47.95. Do you have any take profit spot on that, CW Parker? Or is that more of a long-term hold? Looking at overhead supply on Hood. So here's, I would be thinking it's a little bit higher though. I'm thinking more of a, I'm not here to argue facts. I'm thinking more 112 to 115 is probably that overhead area. Thank you, Chris, saying I haven't dove into the Hood financials, but I'll do a deep dive and post it in the Benzinga Pro Chat. We appreciate that. I don't trust Vlad as far as I can throw him, but probably means he knows how to squeeze a good profit. CDT is open. That is moving higher. Here's your 5-minute chart on CDT. Next spot here, 196, and then probably 2. Daniel says your mic is the best in the business. You got that right. Electro Voice RE20. Turn on like Fox Sports 1. All of the anchors use it. Thank God one of my buddies is an audio engineer and knows what to do. That way you guys get to hear the golden pipes the way they're supposed to be. Matt, good morning. It's good to see you again. I have the same plague that 13 has. It's horrible. I'm sorry that you're going through that. I hope you feel better too. Any thoughts on BBAI? Let's take a look at it. I haven't looked at BBAI in a few days. CDT, by the way, still holding higher. I'll let you know if this comes back into VWAP, but still got 196 and 2 as your potential next resistance areas here. BBAI, this stock just won't go away. I don't think that this is a reasonable competitor to Palantir. I've never really bought that. Looking at the chart here, I think we are probably not if you like this long term, this isn't the worst spot. But I don't see where we're getting any of that upside momentum here on BBAI, and I don't know what catalyst is going to possibly come by that's going to do that. 27% of the float is shorted here, so in 2.32 days to cover. Maybe you get some squeeze action if we get some good news flow on BBAI, but ultimately I think the comparisons here to Palantir are definitely premature, probably not even realistic, honestly. And this doesn't really look appealing here. It actually looks like we've broken this area. This was from Tuesday, June 9th. Looks like this chart wants to go lower, to be honest. Cast is open too. That was our other halt. Thank you. Here's Cast. Now this one halted to the downside and looked like it initially went lower, but it's trying to bounce. Now CDT pulling back, VWAP coming into play here. It actually is going to halt here at 156 if this holds. This is why I don't love some of these junkier names. CDT halted second time. This is actually the third halt. I beg your pardon. This time halted to the downside right at VWAP for all intents and purposes. Right at VWAP. Cast is open now. This might trade better if the gunslingers are moving from the halted stocks to the unhalted stocks. Perhaps Cast picks up some interest here. Oh, and then one more thing. I wanted to do this. Producer, if you're there for the accompanying graphics. I'm doing a webinar today with Tim Melvin. I know we normally do a webinar every other week on Tuesday evening. Today, though, we're actually doing a webinar. It's going to be, we're going to have number one, we're going to have a deal on his Trade Alerts Accelerator or his Trade Alert service. So if you like Tim Melvin and the way he looks at stocks and the stocks that he picks, this is actually the service where he gives you the picks on an alert basis. We are going to have a sale on that. So if you're interested in that, you might want to check it out. But even if you're not interested in that, we're going to talk about a couple of two different strategies here. We're also going to talk about some individual stocks, and we're going to talk about how these strategies were used in order to make money. We're going to talk about some of the concepts of these strategies too. So in addition to giving out stocks, we're also going to talk about the why behind it, how it works, and why these things worked. And if you've heard Tim on any of our broadcasts before, he knows everything about every single stock, and we're going to cover a lot of those here today. So it is during market hours. It's going to be this afternoon. Great way to get ready for the weekend here. You can scan the QR code and join us here today. Thank you, producer. Lion is back, and guess what Lion is focusing on? The memory names. Why, might you ask? Because they're trading higher. MU actually did try to take out 1100 and move higher. It's kind of reflirting with that. Your WDC call from earlier was the best performing one earlier. Lo and behold, still looks like it's the best performing one, and this is holding above VWAP. And you're trading options on these. Do you have a target on any of these three stocks, Lion? Or I guess we could, you also had ARM in there. Let's throw SanDisk in there. Let me know if you have upside targets on any of these. And then as far as your option strategy, if you feel that the stock is bullish, or if you feel like the stock is going to trade well, are you buying just an option contract right out of the open? Are you waiting for it to sell off and maybe reverse? What's the thought process? What's the strategy that you have behind the option trades that you do on a regular basis? QCOM up big, same in the group. Let's take a look here at QCOM real quick. By the way, that CDT halt was 955.59. So we're expecting that here in another minute. Here is Qualcomm, and boy, this dipped to yesterday's low and reversed hard. You're right about that. That pushed. SpaceX 190 calls getting bought. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, we have a unusual options trade here. SpaceX into the pull. Trader bought 2,960 contracts, spent $3.3 million. These expired July 10th, and they're the 190 strike. That is a bullish buy on SpaceX right there. SpaceX up off the lows on the back of that buy. Kathy here. I had asked Lion about it. Haven't got an answer yet. Kathy saying for the memory chip stocks, you have to hold your nose and buy. You're not going to find a proper buy point for a while. So those are going to be a little bit more inherent risk there is what you're saying, Kathy. Okay, Lion, your option strategy. Thank you for the answer. Ryan, I buy call options 2 or 3 weeks away and let it rip, sell them, rinse and repeat. So you're basically just taking stabs on a 2 to 3 week time frame. You're always buying to the upside. I would assume then that by putting the 2 to 3 week time frame on it, you're either going to add a little bit if the stock comes in on that initial day. What's your downside protection on this? Do you just hold those and let them expire, or do you actually have a stop on that? CDT, by the way, is open and trading lower. We're beneath the VWAP. It is trying to recapture it, and it actually looks like it's flirting with that right now. I've got 153 as the VWAP. Yeah, this thing cannot get above its VWAP. Lower we go here on CDT. Lower we go. SanDisk near all-time highs, so those memory names continue to rip and rip nicely. This is your all-time high on SanDisk, isn't it? Yep. God, what a monster these stocks have been. SPY, by the way, held 744 all morning here. Does not have the strength to take out the VWAP, and I currently have that at 745.5. I'll tell you what, SanDisk looks like this is going to set a new all-time high here too. Jay mentioning that ARM hit a new all-time high. Ticker ARM. What is the cat doing? All right, buddy. Simmer down. For the last 3 months, if you take a look at the charts of MU, ARM, and WDC, there is no downside. So you're basically, but answer though, are you holding the calls till zero, or do you eventually stop on them? And then you're basically playing the sentiment here. So when the sentiment changes, you'll flip to puts, but otherwise right now it's clearly bullish across the board. And so you're playing the trend there. Got it. Kenneth, my DRAM position is up 44% from the May entry. You know what my follow-up question is going to be, if that's what you're saying, right? Where's the take profit spot? What's the second part of the plan to actually get those gains booked? Let me know. Folks, smash up the like. You can do it for a couple of reasons. You can smash up the like for me running the show solo here, or smash up the like to help 13 activate Wolverine mode and heal a little bit quicker. We appreciate that. Thank you, producer. Zach, Ondas bouncing, so it is trying to hold 9. Let's see if we get back above that 200. That'd be great. Kenneth, I love this. I asked you what your target was. You didn't give me one. Instead, you said, I keep raising my stop. So, folks, sometimes we talk about, the selling too early. What do you do? I always feel like I sell too early. Maybe adopting what Kenneth is doing here, right? Maybe just have a stop, and then as the stock continues to move in your direction, move the stop up. That way, you're protected in case the stock decides to go schizo and reverse. You're going to get stopped out at whatever gain you have. And if the stock keeps trading up, you're going to be able to trail that. So to me, that seems like a pretty good strategy, Ken. Ryan, Lion, I will say your sense of humor is top notch. You're right there at the top with the sense of humor. Ryan, I'm obligated to hit the like every day for the headaches that I give. Oh, laughter is the best medicine, Lion. Hopefully that spreads to 13. That's well done. Well done. Thanks, Selena. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Let's see. What else do we have here? Top 3 sectors: XLK, XLI, XLU so far. Oh, you guys are making me laugh. Making Austin laugh too. I love it. I love it. RGTI is the second time this has been mentioned. I didn't look at it the first time. Shame on me. I apologize for that. Here's RGTI. Woo. So, oh my gosh, look at this again. Look at the 2150 level again. We broke through it. On the day that we broke through it, we then used it as resistance. Like, it immediately turned around and became resistance. The next day, we tried to recapture it, swatted down, and now we have continuation from this. That means that has produced a decent swing trade here in RGTZ, the inverse ETF for that. And indeed, nice little movement here, RGTZ. SPY's just wobbling. Interestingly enough, I just got my first, thank you for mentioning that, Joe. I just got my first buy indicator, buy signal from the 0 DTE indicator right now. We're going to remember this is the second trade window. So these buy indicators are technically a little bit more, let's call them risky than the ones in the first trade window. But SPY, let me actually put it on screen here. SPY maybe has found an intraday bottom, and it sure looks like that 744 is going to be the support area. Here's 744. Okay. It looks like we are through VWAP now to the upside here on SPY. So I'll be damned. That indicator ended up producing I'm not in this. Full disclosure, I'm not in this here. And our next level that we need to take out, we're basically this high right here, 745.75. A big buyer is stepping up here as we continue now to push through the VWAP on SPY. Selena saying careful, could be more of a downside later today. Remember, we've got the witching. We're going into a 3-day holiday weekend, and there's a lot of people that don't trust the MOU deal or whatever the hell's going on with the United States and Iran. So plenty of possible here. So we would want to see the S&P futures continue to drive the bus and carry us to the high end of the range today. SPY keeps trading up. Where did these contracts go from so far? So, okay, I was looking at the 746 call here today. This went from 150 to 190 on this last push. So you had a 40-cent move in those contracts. That's what, about 25% move in the overall position? And I now have 3 buy signals here. I'll let you know if I get a sell signal on this, but we continue to push up here on the SPY. Did just get a take profit signal there. So we have 3 buy signals and a cha-ching take profit signal so far. And by the way, on the indicator, one of the things that I've been doing in my initial phase here is when I get the sell indicator, I don't trim it. I sell the entire position. Now, I might start altering that a little bit here because in some of these cases, we've actually moved higher. We've had a huge run, and those 0 DTE contracts can print like crazy. But right now, we are getting an indicator to sell. Ryan, change screen more often. Can't hear. I'm old. Lol. I don't know what you mean. SPY continuing to push. I don't know what you mean. Change screen more often. You want me to change the tickers more often? How does that have to do with hearing stuff? I'm not sure. What is the indicator you speak of? NK Vids. I developed a indicator that provides entry and exit signals for the purpose of trading the SPY 0 DTE contracts on a regular basis. As I'm not going to release the secret sauce, obviously, but basically it looks at the 9 EMA, the VWAP, the flow, the MOC, and also the time that we are in the session to determine whether or not there's a possible trade entry there. I've also developed an indicator that outlines fair value gaps on stocks of all prices for the purpose of intraday trades. Oh, I also developed a momentum trend indicator that's based off hidden Markov models, which I use on a regular basis. By the way, breadth looks good across the board here. Tick chart looks good, and Anne-Marie's advanced decline, that opened at 1,000. It's crept in a little bit to a positive 730, but those are down from the highs. Bitcoin at the lows, and Apple reversed its turn. That is now trading up as well. Oh, the ticker. Repeat the ticker more. I can do that. I can absolutely do that. And I generally try to do that. Today, when I'm just soloing this whole thing, I might not be as frequent as I am in the past, but I'll keep that in mind. I'll try and do that. I can't hear. Let me get my glasses. Not the first time I've heard that one. Does it matter what the dark pools do on this indicator? So this is a good question, JD. I can't say for sure. By the way, I've got more sell indicators now. So that trade, even if you scaled, should be all out of. And actually, it came back in towards 150. 150 was the buy spot. The contract itself is at 157. I'll tell you what, man, that indicator, that worked so well. That worked so well on that recent push up there. Now we're coming back in. We actually just lost VWAP on the SPY. Yeah, and Lion, and one of my other projects is I want to create a subscription-based app that allows anyone to use an AI tool to create a trading strategy that can then be automatically implemented and also has a feature of backtesting. Now, it's a bit complicated. I do have some help that I think I can call in on this project, but I don't necessarily want to spend capital on it unless I know I can sell it. And I don't know that I'm there yet. So in the meantime, we test the indicators to try and get them dialed. Now, JD, to your question about the dark pools, does it matter? I don't think so. Because we've talked, remember, Mark Petrino's talked about dark pools a lot. It's basically just a private exchange. What the indicator is working off of is what it sees in the chart. So does someone else have more of like a front side position than I do because they trade through dark pools? Maybe, but I don't think that matters a whole lot for the indicator. And then the other thing here is that one of the reasons I want to automate this entire thing is because I want to be able to have this run while I'm hosting the show. Because I've noticed that whenever I'm trying to do something show related, my trading is affected terribly. And when it comes to zero DTEs, you've got to be quick on these. And if you are just not looking or you're paying attention to something else, you can really kind of compound your problem. Ryan, your image lags and the sound is okay. Yeah, you mean my camera, right? We've been trying to figure that out. We've been trying to figure out what's going on there. I don't get it. Barb says, I just built with Claude something that does all of that. I'd love to take a look at it if that's possible. Ryan, we have the experience and the talent to come up with stuff like that. You're absolutely right, Ryan. And furthermore, we have the means to actually create it now because the AI tools are better coders than humans. And anyone can do it. Okay, so that bounce in the SPY that we talked about got sold. We're beneath the VWAP on the SPY. We're beneath the VWAP on the S&P futures, and stocks are also responding. So Ondas started to bounce. That's getting sold. SpaceX is still bouncing. Tesla, that bounce is getting sold. Even financials, which have been strong. Goldman Sachs, that's getting sold. Bitcoin is at the lows, and Bitcoin actually looks like it might break and go lower from here. You know what? I haven't even looked at the Twitter streets today because I've been solo. I don't necessarily see anything crazy out there, though. That's okay. All right. Retro, good morning, Ryan. Just signing in, overslept due to not feeling well. Is something going around, guys? 13's not feeling well. Matt's not feeling well. Retro is sick. Something is going around. All those people are in different spots in the country, too. What source data do you use for your price history? I use the quotes that we have here at Benzinga, since I have access to it. Okay, what else did I miss here? I was a fool and bought SpaceX on the dip yesterday. Cam, what's your time horizon on that? Already sold due to the trailing stop. Okay. The one thing that I think about SpaceX there, I think you might have volatility between now and the earnings. I suspect that stock will trade down after earnings. By the way, this is why, guys, this is what I mean about zero DTEs. I literally took my eyes off of the ticker and the chart for like 20 seconds to read the comments that you guys are bringing in, and look what the SPY did. It bounced from the same area it bounced from before. I got another buy signal on the indicator here. I didn't even look at what price that was. Let me see if I can get it from the chart here. Looks like that move started at 124 on the price of those contracts, the zero DTE 746 call. This thing's 175. Sorry, that was just the first buy indicator. Move back up to 746. This is why I want to automate this. I cannot possibly stay on top of this. I'm not good enough to do it. Ryan, could you talk on joining Zinger Nation? Does that give you an option to join Happy Hour and other stuff? This is a great question, Nikhil. It doesn't. Producer, jump in here and stop me if I'm wrong on anything that I say here, but I'm pretty sure that the Zinger Nation YouTube thing doesn't really do anything other than just an added way to support our mission and what we're doing here. I don't think it gives you anything. Now, the caveat to that is one of the things that the team is working on, and we're not making any promises on this today, but we are looking at some other options to kind of create a Discord-based community so that you folks can join us during the trading day if you don't want or have the utility to sign up for Pro, although I think that you should. We are also, as far as that YouTube stuff goes, thank you, producer. We are also, we have some plans to kind of update it so it has more value to it. So this is what I would say, Nikhil. If you're thinking about joining the Zinger Nation thing for YouTube, this goes for anybody else. You might want to wait on that if you're kind of strapped, because it sounds like we're going to increase the value there, which you would end up getting. But if it doesn't have it now, maybe it's not a great option for you. Tensai says, I've been coming here for months and months. I just never felt qualified to put my 2 cents in. That's a shame. And that means that I've dropped the ball, because as I've said a number of times here before, but not enough, there's no bad questions here. And we have people of all different skill levels. I mean, look what Lion was just saying. We have people of all different skill levels here, 20, 30, 40-year plus vets. Jay Rice has been doing this since before some of you folks were born. All right. And I don't want this to be a community of just beginners or just advanced traders. I want it to be a mix. I fully and wholeheartedly believe, because of my own experience, that when you put a mix of traders together, the amount that each person can learn from one another goes up dramatically. Look at the SPY, folks. New highs here on the SPY. God, that turned around fast. So let me get back to that. Sorry for getting distracted. Tensai, please feel free to contribute. Please feel free. The only rule that I have here is just don't start arguments and troll and stuff. Other than that, there's no bad questions. You're always welcome to ask. And shout out to the chat, because I know a lot of folks here in the chat often help other chatters so that we don't even have to break what we're talking about. So don't feel bad about that. Yassine wants you to know that he's a roofer, and he puts his 10 cents in. You know, I've seen, Yassine, since you've signed up to where you are now, you're obviously taking to this whole thing. So the fact that you're a roofer, that just means you have other skills. That's not a negative. By the way, SPY stopped at about the same area. I know it pushed to some over this recent high, but it's kind of finding some more resistance here. I have not got a sell indicator yet from this recent batch of buy signals. I'll let you know if I get one. Barb says, I say stupid stuff all the time. Join the club, Barb. So do I. So do I. Whew. Chris says, so beginner traders have crazy dumb luck, and I like to tail that luck. Chris, I love the glass half full approach there, my man. I absolutely love that. So the SPY here, interestingly enough, we pushed up into this resistance area. We kind of stopped there, but we're not breaking back down. And I almost wonder if it holds here, if we actually have another push higher through that recent peak. Still have not got a sell signal on the indicator. Roofers make bank. I own a roofing company. Yassine, maybe I got into the wrong vocation. I like to work on cars. Maybe I should have got into roofing. G-Man says, Ryan, I like the SPY using 745.80 as support. That's about 10 cents from where. We just went right back down to that, G-Man. What did you do, dude? Just kidding. Just kidding. Okay, so now this is coming back in. Sell signal is triggered. There it is. Microsoft, thank you, Scott. Good to see you, by the way, Scott. Can't decide if it wants to go red or green. Let's take a look at Microsoft. We looked at that earlier, but I haven't brought it up since, and I haven't really seen anything off the unusual option scanner of note. Here's what Microsoft looks like. Looks like we got kind of a dip and a bounce back here, but we are still finding resistance at yesterday's intraday low. Matthew, you're having technical issues. I don't know what to say. Producer, is there anything we can suggest to Matthew? I don't know why you're having those issues. No one else seems to be. I put a roof on in Texas during the summer once. Respect to anyone who's able to battle that heat. Yeah, no question. Microsoft, just to kind of finish up here on Microsoft, I agree with your assessment. I don't think this knows which way it wants to go. And if you compare that to some of the other tech names, like these memory names, they know exactly where they're going. Higher. Higher. SPY is going higher. Boy, what a fake out sell signal that was. And that happens. That's part of it. Told you to sell, came back in, bang, higher we go here on the SPY. We're actually through the VWAP on the S&P futures as well. Breadth is still all in the green. The trend is bullish on the 5 and the 15. The confidence level, 99% plus. Yeah. Yep. Velo at the highs. Starting to get some bounce back here. Oil, interestingly, is down 3.8%. Oil in a 73 handle. 73 handle. Remember when people said, oh, it's not going to drop like it's not going to go back to the 60. It's going to take months and months. We are at 73 on /CL. We printed 72.92. Derek, you said the video and the sound don't match up. Hit your refresh button and let me know if it's better, because I think we've seen that before, and I think a refresh resolves that. Ring it, Ryan. You got it, Yassine. You got it. I love this. Roofers nail it. Well done. Well done. So, Derek, so that refresh didn't help. I don't know how to fix that. By the way, on this next move higher here on the SPY, I did get a trim signal. Here's Marvell, by the way. This just, what a move here today. No wonder Lion's so happy today. Yeah, so you're seeing the same asynchrony. I don't know how to fix that. Video and the audio is off. Producer, are you seeing all of this? Do you think there's anything that we can do? I don't know. I don't know what the answer is to that. Folks, we got 5 minutes left here. Producer says it looks fine to him. I don't know, guys. Mang, Ryan, any idea why SpaceX still going down, though there's 5% floats and naked short sellers. I can't speak to the naked short sellers or the float stat that you gave. Why is it going down? I think that there was a euphoric rush into this, and we're just kind of coming back to earth. I don't think the stock trading down a couple of percent is a big deal. I think IPO'd at 135 and went to 225 in like a couple of days. Interesting. Tess says the sync issue is why I prefer X. Ryan, last time you switched windows and it fixed it? What do you mean I switched? Sync is way off. What is going on? It helps if you keep your mouth below the video camera view. What? You guys, I think you guys are messing with me now. I think you guys are playing a big old joke on Rhino here. Oh, Velo. So just got word here. Thank you, High Beta Squawker from our Benzinga Pro ecosystem. Charles Payne from Fox Business is long Velo 3D Systems. Sound seems fine, huh? There's an audio sync problem. Guys, here, you know what I'm going to do? We're almost done here, so let me test something. Let me test something here. We're going to test this. Oh, I see. If we can't see your mouth, then we don't know that it's out of sync. I got it. How's the sync now that we played the little graphic there? Is it better? Is it worse? Is it the same? That worked. All right, producer. Perfect. Better. Oh my God. Okay. Well, hey, at least we found a workaround for this. Producer, we might need to create another really kind of short thing just to play. I guess I could just keep playing the Street Tweets one. I can't believe that fixed it. I can't believe what the F is going on, guys. Well, hey, at least we discovered a workaround. A glass half full approach. We discovered a workaround. Now I'm speaking German. Oh, Kenneth. Okay. All right. I don't know why that works, but we're not going to argue with success. It works. Folks, we're out of time here for today. I hope that you all have a wonderful rest of your Thursday here. Enjoy the long weekend. Enjoy the rest of your synthetic Friday. For those of you that are pro members, it sounds like we will be doing happy hour here today, so we'll see you later in the afternoon. Folks, I just want to congratulate everybody. This was a great week. I know we had SpaceX on Friday last week. This was the first week to trade all of that. Great stuff here. We're going to have more volatility next week. I am sure of. So be sure to enjoy your 3-day weekend. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused, and we will catch you again next week. Take care, everybody. And thanks for all of the help